Hello, my name is Julian Rogers, and for the next 10 to 15 minutes I'm going to discuss how an FM business can stand out with quality customer service. Before we begin, I just want to just sort of make you think about something for a second. So what do you think makes your business different? Now I'm going to use myself as an analogy. Now, I've worked in IT for about 15 years now, and I've had various roles from sort of help desk through to sales to consultancy to business analysis. Um, But throughout, whenever I sort of visit a client, I'm always the computer guy. Now, on the same footing, the chap who supplies and sort of puts in place the printer, he's the computer guy. Perhaps the girl who's the account manager for a completely different set of products and tools, she's the computer guy. So the thing is, the customer really doesn't get the difference between what we all do. Now, obviously, some of them do, but generally speaking, we're just all the computer guys, so we have to stand out in other ways. And I've always prided myself in working for companies which obviously offer great customer service, because that's what I want to talk to you about today. Now, it's not just me thinking this, because what Forrester did with some research was they found as product and price differentiation erodes. Now the thing is if your products are all the same, you've got to compete on price, because that's the only way you can differentiate yourself. But actually, the smarter companies are looking towards customer experience or customer service to gain market share. So that's really what this quote's about. Now, taking that a bit further, some of the things that we see in our prospect base is little or no services in place, service processes in place. They can't really see their KPIs, the key performance indicators. KPIs aren't really that important until things are going wrong. When clients say, "We actually, you've not solved this in the time that you said you would. You weren't on site in the time that you said you would be. Um, you know, this is outside your KPI. Your SLA's not been met." All of those sorts of things. But quite often, that's quite hard information to get. Unfortunately, it's a sign of the times, but staff reductions, are still ever present. We think that they're reducing a little bit these days. Some of our clients are actually hiring now, but staff still need to do more with less, which ties into operational efficiency. But I think perhaps most telling of all is customer expectations. The customer's smarter than they used to be. Now, that's not to say that customers weren't smart before. It's just they have different demands, and they know what they should get. And what we're seeing, again, this is the final quote of the session, is that 40% of customers who suffer will walk. Now, this isn't a social media presentation, but what I wanted to do is just highlight how easy it is for bad news to travel, and good news to travel, of course. But there's that old adage that if somebody has a problem, they'll tell 100 people. If somebody has some good things, they'll tell one person. So I did a quick search on the phrase facilities management in LinkedIn the other day, and I got 399 hits on groups of people talking about FM. Now, you'll say to me that corporate real estate, that's not an FM company at number one with 32,000 members. Number two is, so what I did was I picked out the top five which I thought were relevant to FM, for various reasons. So the first international one, 12,000 members, perhaps again not relevant to you. So the next one I picked was the highest numbers of members in a British group, 3,300 members. The other thing you'll notice is there's 5 discussions from the day before I took the snapshot. So they're actually, these active groups, people are talking about FM and talking about the subjects, and they could be talking about you in a good light, you in a bad light. I'm sure quite a few of you are actually members of these groups, so you'll know what they're talking about. But the point is they are talking, and these aren't small numbers of people. Final social media slide is really just the fact that whilst LinkedIn might be the most appropriate one, we think there's hundreds of them, and it's very, very easy for your clients and prospects to talk to each other and find out about how you're perhaps doing as a business. So now, more than any time ever, it's important to get that customer experience right. So what do we think about getting it wrong versus getting it right? So this was a study which was done back in 2004, and what it found, it was actually with consumers rather than the FM sector. It was a B2C study, and what it found was that 78% of people had a good experience, 22% of people had problems. Now, I'm sure nobody has 0 problems, and I have no idea what that number is for your particular business, but keep these numbers in mind as we're working through it. So from that 22%, what happened? Now I think this is the most shocking result of all, and that's the fact that 96% of people couldn't be bothered to complain. We've all been there, we've thought, well, what difference is it going to make? But then, out of the 4% who do complain, only 38% of those were satisfied. Now, that's good news, I hear you saying, but that's 38% of 4% of 22%. So that's, I think, if memory serves me, about 0.3% of your client base who are satisfied with the complaints procedure. Of course, they then go on to be 100% happy and are advocates of your business. And are they telling one person how happy they are? So let's look at what happened to those who were disappointed. Now again, this was a study from a few years ago, but what it said was 60% of those were at risk. Now they either couldn't leave because of contracts or thought you'd have one more chance. 40% leave. But 96% of people who don't bother to complain or can't be bothered to complain, 55% of those left, with 45 at risk. Now everybody on this chart in orange or red is potentially a detractor of your business who might tell other people about that. So what can we do about this? Well, the first thing, and the most obvious thing I think, is to improve the satisfied complainers. So the people who complain and get a good result. So that's really about having the right kind of system to ensure that complaints are handled correctly, complaints are handled accurately, and that the person actually picking up the phone and dealing with the complaint can actually do something about it. Moving further down is perhaps something that at first thought you probably don't want to encourage, but actually you really should, and that's increase your complaints and make it easier for people with a problem to actually tell you about it, because what you're doing then is you're giving yourself a chance to deal with it. And of course if you deal with it, and you deal with it well, more advocates, so that 22% figure, more of that figure becomes advocates. And then finally, of course, because we're capturing more complaints and we're dealing with them all better, we can go back to the root cause and try and reduce that 22% or whatever that figure is for your business. But the point is gathering more information, capturing those complaints, dealing with it, not taking the head in the sand approach, allows you to improve your customer services, capture more complaints and deal with the root causes of the problem. Worth pointing out actually, people who've been through a satisfactory complaints procedure potentially are more likely to sing your praises than the 78% who are just simply happy in the first place. Now here at Innovise we've developed a solution called CRM4FM, which is a full suite customer relationship management solution specifically targeted at the FM sector. Now in that we have a service module for exactly this, handling calls. Now a call comes in and the solution has the ability to log it. That could be from a call, from a phone call, from an email, or even set up to take problems, questions, queries for a customer portal. Once that case is created, it's then assigned to the right person or the right team of people. It could be a queue. They then have the mechanism to capture all of that information. It's being audited throughout, so we've got timestamps so we can say how long from case creation to case resolution, and all of those good things that clients want to know about at some point in the future. The point is we're giving the mechanism to deal with the problem so we can solve it. Doesn't really finish there though, because once it's solved we want to feed that information back in to management reports and perhaps even a knowledge base, so if we're getting the same problems over and over again we can store that with a fixed resolution. We could even publish that back to the customer portal to allow the customers to self-serve with their problems, meaning first call resolution is not even relevant because they don't even need to make the call. Now we chose to develop CRM4FM in Dynamics CRM 2011, and what you're looking at here is one of the first views of that system that a user might see, and it's a dashboard view. Very graphical, and what it's showing you is the things that are relevant to that user. Now these could be the KPIs around the business. This could be could be a series of traffic lights saying calls in and out of service level agreement times. We could be showing you data from other systems. The thing is, it's the right view for the right user, and in this case it's a help desk individual, so you can see activities and call status. Now, the reason we chose Dynamics CRM is because it's easy to use. It's based on Microsoft technologies. It's designed by Microsoft to be easy to use and to be very similar to the Office application. So here we've got a simple case form for handling that outlying complaint. We can drill into more complexity, but the overarching view is very, very straightforward. We can have the concept of a guided dialogue, which is similar to a thing called workflow, but it's with questions and answers for the users. So you could use lower skilled people to handle the questions and handle problems, but guide them through the resolution. It empowers people to solve problems there and then on a phone, so the customer doesn't actually have to phone back again and again and again. If that problem requires somebody on site, we have a scheduling service, so we can put engineers out to site. Now, you could tie that into the Innovise Service Track product and feed that right down to the PDA, to the chap in the van's handset, sending them out automatically without having to return to base. The beauty of that kind of view is that we can look at that within a calendar view, so you can have the concept of a service calendar with vehicles, shared vehicles in this case, and you can see who's going what and where. Taking it right back again though, customer expects to be the center of your world. By making the customer the center of your world, their expectations are met and you're really starting to provide a true quality customer experience or customer service. Now, that's regardless of the customer. Remember the computer guy analogy? Customer doesn't care who they're talking to. Management, customer service, sales. Just need this nice consistent view where everybody is aware of everything subject to security and what they're allowed to see, but everybody can see what's going on, so the customer feels that they're dealing with their computer guy and their computer guy knows exactly the answer to the question. So what are some of the benefits of this to you as a business? Well, you'll have heard of the concept of a 360-degree view banded around. I think the most important part of the 360-degree view is everybody can see when things aren't perhaps working well, or can see a sort of history of some of the client's issues, so they can ensure they don't happen again. Happy customers are what we're looking for. It'll allow you to be more productive. At the end of the day, it's a database for capturing information. People can deal with higher workloads. If they've got consistent, clear ways to manage their tasks in what they're doing on the day-to-day process. We've got those guided workflows, the guided dialogues for people to deal with, just to make them more efficient in their day-to-day job. From the customer's side of things, what we're going to do is we're going to improve first call resolution. Now, I'm sure you're aware of how annoying it is when whatever it is you're complaining about requires multiple phone calls, and that just ticks you off as a customer. And it's exactly the same for your customers too. And of course, customers who aren't ticked off are likely to buy more. I would rather buy products from from a supplier who can look after me and make sure that if things do go wrong, I'm dealt with well. So don't just take our word for it. This is some comments from one of our customers, a chap called Jason Trigg. Give you a moment to read that. And now I just want to take you back to that original question. So if you honestly ask yourself, and if the one thing you take away from this is really this question, ask yourself, are you different? Now, you think you're different, I'm certain of that, because you know what you do, and you know the things which make your business special. But is it that obvious to your clients? And how could you go about making yourself different if you don't feel perhaps you are? So thank you very much for your time, and should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me, either through our website or through my email address. And of course, everything we've been talking about is available on a 30-day free trial, which I'm more than happy to set up for you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.